Good morning and welcome to the ASDRP Researcher Interview Series. Today I'll be talking with Sreenidhi Challagundla. Thank you for joining me today. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. To start us off, will you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Sreenidhi. I go to Cupertino High School and I'm currently a junior. And some things that I like to do in my free time are badminton. I really like playing badminton. And another thing about me is that I'm really into Taekwondo. And a fun fact is that I recently gotten my black belt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Exciting. Um, so how did you find out about ASDRP?
So I actually found out about ASDRP through my senior friend who did the program the prior year. And so she recommended it to me. And it just seemed like really, really nice. And I I applied to it and then I got accepted.
That's awesome. Did you have any interest in research before hearing about the program?
I did. I've always wanted to do like some kind of high level research, like kind of beyond the one we were doing in school, but I've never really like gotten the chance to do it before ASDRP.
Well, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're getting the chance now. So what project are you working on?
So the project that our group is currently working on is called the in vitro and in silico characterization of epigenetic drugs. And we look at BET proteins and related analogs on a colorectal cancer cell line. And so a little bit of background, BET stands for bromodomain and extra-terminal domains. And BET proteins essentially just like regulate a lot of things like histone acylation, which is like opening and closing of DNA, as well as like chromatin modification, which is replacing parts of DNA. And they also regulate processes such as transcription, which converts DNA into RNA for protein synthesis. And why this is important is because all of this kind of contributes to the cell's growth and as well as the cell cycle process functioning normally. And so, but when these BET proteins are actually diseased, it leads to the overexpression of proto-oncogenes, which can result in tumors. And so this will lead to cancer. And our group basically aims to find BET inhibitors that will reduce the prevalence of colorectal cancer.
Wow, that is so interesting. What an important project. What made you interested in joining that group?
I was previously I'm interested in biology from taking I actually take AP Bio at my school, so I really have a passion for biology, and I'm also really passionate about CS. So I wanted to explore bioinformatics as it's like an intersection of both fields, and I just thought it would be a really interesting opportunity.
Oh, that's so cool. Will you talk a little bit more about how the project brings together biology and CS?
Yeah, for sure. So our group is actually divided into two groups. We have the computational group and then the wet lab group. And I would say the computational group is more focused on the CS side of things, while the wet lab group tests the actual lab procedures. So that's more on the bio side of it. But our group basically, what we do is we collect and analyze the data that will then be synthesized and tested in vitro. So our first step was basically collecting the data from this database. I think it's called Kemble. And then after that, what we did is we clustered our molecules to determine how similar they were to JQ1, which is essentially our control. And the reason why we selected it was because it was previously kind of known to be a good inhibitor. So we wanted that as a comparison factor. So when we clustered our molecules, we were able to narrow down our list a little bit. And then we checked their binding affinities to BRD4. And so this kind of helped us determine like how good of an inhibitor, how effective it would be. And then after that, we looked at how toxic our inhibitors were as well, because that's a really important thing as well. And to determine their toxicity values, we're actually using these programs called Priscilli and DeepCDR, which will rank them relatively based on their IC50 toxicity values. And once we're able to narrow down this list to find inhibitors which are really effective, they're novels, meaning they haven't been tested a lot, as well as they're not very toxic, then we'll order these to be synthesized in vitro.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a really interesting process. What step are you on right now? What are you currently working on?
So we're currently working on determining their toxicity. So we're still trying to run the Priscilli software.
Nice. So you're in the computational group.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you ever go into lab?
For us, not really. It's mostly virtually because we're just using the computational programs to do our work. But I think for the wet lab group, they regularly go into the lab.
That's cool. So what is it like working with your advisor and your group virtually?
Yeah, it's a really cool experience. I think it's just really nice to hear like tons of new perspectives, and they've been like guiding me throughout the process. So that's been really helpful. And just kind of the whole like collaborative environment is like a really nice thing to have.
That's so great. What has been the most rewarding thing about your research project?
I think the best thing about what we're doing is that we've gotten the opportunity to present it at many conferences and the expos as well. So it's just been really nice to kind of share what we've kind of found and kind of impart that to other researchers. So that's been a really nice like experience for us.
Congratulations on attending conferences. That's really amazing. And it sounds like a really cool experience.
Yeah.
So what has been the most challenging thing about your research project?
I think this kind of goes back to the beginning when I joined ASDRP, but it was initially really hard for me to get used to that research environment because I've never really done research before ASDRP. And so I think just getting used to like all the technical terms and everything like research related, it definitely took me some time. And to get there, I kind of had to ask a lot of questions and meet with my group members kind of like one-on-one to understand our project. But I think doing all of that, I was gradually able to get a better hand of our research project.
That's awesome. And now you're on the other side, although I'm sure learning still continues. Is there anything else you'd like to share today about your experience? Any stories?
Yeah, I think one thing that I really like about ASDRP is that not only has it taught me like very good research skills, I think it's also just been really useful in teaching like really valuable life lessons. Like it's taught me like really good communication skills from our weekly meetings to just like presenting at the conferences and kind of collaborating with other researchers. I think it's been very valuable in terms of that. And I think it's also a really good thing because it has helped me like think really critically and deeply and not just kind of look at what's on the surface level. And I think that's just really useful for us because we look at the novel, we always try to do like novel research, meaning something that hasn't been like tested too much. And we really want to explore new things rather than kind of building off on something already existing.
That's great. I'm so glad you've been able to develop other communication skills and gotten so much out of the program. This was a great interview, so I can definitely see those skills shining through. For my last question today, I would love to know what advice you'd give to a researcher looking to join ASDRP.
Yeah, I would say that it can be a little intimidating if you've never had this kind of experience before, but I would say it's a very valuable experience in terms of what I was saying before. It was just like it's not just research skills, but it's a lot of other things that you can get with ASDRP. And I think this environment is just really hard to create elsewhere. And it's just a really valuable like learning opportunity that you should definitely embrace.
That's some great advice. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day and best of luck with school and your research project.
Thank you.